Alright, welcome back. So I am currently tidying up the actual wings on the F-22. So went back, checked, cleared out all the servos, all the programming in the servos. The only thing I put in each servo was the soft start for each servo, which I need to check one on this one now that I think about it. Because once I get them connected in the servo, there's no way to go back and program it because I'm using like this little guy here. It's just it's a two to one connection, and it's got the it's hard to see there, but it's got the connector. Actually, there used to be little arms here that you would mount, so it would kind of go like a mounting point with two screws on each side. So if you just clip right in, so if it's like a flush mount. But I took those pieces off because of the way this jet was. You couldn't get it into the fuselage, and I didn't hard mount them just because there was no room in the wings, which I'll show you guys later. But I got to run these and put little plastic retainers on them, and then once that's done, I won't be able to do any kind of the servo programming inside there. So that's what I'm doing, and then I'm going to go through and kind of see it on this one. Sorry, I pointed the wrong wing. Put all the covers on. At least this time they actually painted the covers right. The last one I had, they had the right wing covers. I guess they set them on the left wing, painted it, and they didn't actually fit when you put them on. So you had to. So the stripes and everything on the wings didn't line up to any of the panels because they had them swapped. But this one's all good in that aspect. I also put all the lock nuts and everything on all the control horns and everything, so it's ready to be buttoned up and kind of done until programming. One thing I did see that they didn't do in this one is they didn't put any hard points in the wings for the actual tanks. They actually sell tanks for these things. I got like a wing fuel tank. And you'll see the F-22s with them occasionally, usually probably when they're deploying somewhere they'll put them on and things like that. But I was actually gonna try to put them on this one to fly some, just because it was different. Wouldn't keep them on all the time, but it'd be kind of neat to put them on occasionally, you know, either for static or, you know, the occasional flight with them on, where you just want to poke a, you know, gentle fly around. But the last ones had like a flat G10 piece glued in here and here, and then the tank slid down on it and you run a screw through the side of it. They didn't put those in this one. So if I want to use those wing tanks, I'm going to have to install those. That is not a problem because you can see inside the wing where those actual points are. And all I would do would be take a piece of long G10 material, like they're just the size for the wing tank, and cut a little slit, glue it in, and you can actually make it touch the top wing. So I would put glue on the top part where it touches the top wing, and then of course on the bottom here. And then at that point I would probably do what I've done in the past, take some like sponge and saturate it with an epoxy and put it up on the top of the fuselage and on the bottom of the fuselage where the actual piece is touching the skins. That way it'll give it, instead of having wood blocks, which, you know, would be hard to get in there. Although I can probably get in there with wood blocks, might be easier to do that. But the foam with epoxy is a cool way to put a hard point in something that you can't get to. So you take and drill like a little hole, cut you a little 1-inch piece of saturated foam, and then you push it through the hole, and you'll make a mess, but you clean it up, and then once it's in, it expands and glues and hardens, and now you've got a hard point in the wing. I've done that in the past, it works really good. So, but if I decide to do that, that'll be later. But right now I'm just running these guys, and all I do for things like this is take a long wire with a hook on the end of it, and then just run it. If you can see, just run it up through where you want to go. And if you can't, another method that I do take a string with a washer or some type of weight on it and stand the wing up vertically, and then just drop the washer down through the wing, and you just kind of flex or move the wing around and until the washer comes out the other end. Both work really good, so I usually just hook it in between the two wires and put like a little piece of tape on it to keep it in line and cover up the hook so it doesn't get caught on something. And then just pull it through. Sometimes you have to kind of go back and forth with it to return this has like a little slit in the last rib. That's weird. I'm getting caught on there. Oh, I see. Okay. Gotta turn it over. There we go. Of course, all the wires in the world get in the way. This is not want to come through, is it? That one came right through. Right there. Oh, there it goes. Okay, got it. There. Voila. Sorry if you guys can't see as well. I'll kind of zoom in a little bit more. I probably should put the actual camera on the other side of the table where it just faces me. That'll be the easiest way to do it. So, disconnect the wire and put one of these on. A little cheap little servo. There you go. Wow, it worked. Little servo wire connector holders. There's a guy that used to sell these on like RCU Flying Giants for like 100 for like $20. Like I wish that guy would come back around because I tried to buy something like this from a hobby shop and they just are very expensive. Flip it on. Alright, so there's that one, which is the aileron, and then this one, which is the flap. Guide it around, pull it out. Same thing. Make sure it clips, alright. And then what I do is I kind of push back into the wing and I'll take the slack and tie them up with some lace tape. Best stuff ever. It's made for electrical wire bundles and stuff in aviation, aircraft, and I'm sure they use it in a lot of other applications, but I don't do zip ties. I hate zip ties. Yeah, it's easy and quick, but you can cut the wire and they look hideous. Lace tape, you can get it in black or white. It's waxy like. It has a wax coating on it, which is kind of like a fire protection kind of thing. Plus it also grips, so it doesn't slide. So I like that about it. And it is a lot cheaper and goes a long way versus a, gosh, keep pulling on, there it is. a long way compared to zip ties. Alright, so pull it back through. I'll leave myself a little slack here, and I'll try to get the two wires the same length in this point, and then I'll take these and just kind of fold them over, and take pieces. This is the lace tape, that's what I was talking about. I have a row of black, but I'm using the white, and it's kind of waxy. And like I said, I just use it. There's a special way to tie with lace tape that you can actually do wire bundles, and it pulls the wire bundle kind of like. But I did that on some other video. Why did I do that? I've done that on videos in the past, where I did that with a lot of wires, just being stupid and like overdoing it, but it works. And the cool thing about it, when you tie like a little knot on it, because it's wax, it locks and holds. So you can just do like a regular knot. And then just trim off a little excess. But like I said, it's much cleaner, and like I said, it doesn't damage wires because that's what it's kind of designed for. Just have to tie it. So I've been looking at trucks trying to get a replacement for the one I just lost in the accident. And gonna have to go out of state because everybody in this state loves their trucks and overpriced. So I've been looking at one in North Carolina, over close to just to the east of Knoxville, I believe, and then there's one up in Illinois, and they're brand new. I just was gonna get a used one, but I know me, I would probably go nuts with stuff that I'd find on it. So I figured better safe than sorry. It's it's a lot of money. So I'm probably just going to buy a new. It just sucks because I'm going to have to go out of state, and I would like to trade my dying little hoopty in on it, but I don't know if it'd even make the drive. So I'm probably going to have to fly up to one of these places or get a one-way rental. It just sucks. It's going to be nice to have a plane someday, or a friend with a plane who wants to hook a brother up and give him a ride. I'll pay for the gas. But that's another thing I want to do in the future is I will own an airplane someday. That has always been my goal as a kid and getting into aviation. I love aviation. Which kind of reminds me, for those that don't know me, kind of like my background, most of you probably do, but I retired in 19 from the Army after 20 years and 3 days. And I started out, I knew from the get-go I wanted to be a pilot as a kid. I was going to do it in other branches, either Air Force or even looked at the Marines because I was actually, when I was in college, I was going to do Marines ROTC, but I just didn't like the fact that it was kind of an open contract with a lot of them when you go the branch officer route. And I knew that you could do high school to flight school before I was out of high school, so that's kind of what I was trying to do. And then I got into helicopters, RC helicopters, and then I went to an air show in Gadsden, Alabama, and saw an Apache do a little demo, and I was like, that's freaking cool, that's awesome, and I kind of fell in love with it. So I joined the Army. I was trying to do the whole come straight in. I did everything, the flight aptitude test and all that, flight physical and stuff, and then the hometown recruiters found out about it because they told me I couldn't do it. So I went into the next big city over and told them what I want to do, and they started doing everything. Well, hometown recruiters found out about it and pulled some jurisdiction crap, and the guys I was working with said they couldn't work with me anymore. So I went back to these guys, in Alabama, like yelling and hooting and hollering, like, what the hell? And they're like, no, we'll do it. And then, so I went down to MEPS in Montgomery for the board, and it was all bullshit. Some major walks in and says, well, I'm like, take me home. They were just trying to get me down there and get me a list. So I messed around and for a few more months, because like I said, I didn't start the next semester of college because I figured I was going to be in the military. So I'm working, I'm like, man, I want to get my career going. I'm like, well, shit, since I got everything, I'll just join the military and do something in aviation and spend my packet once I'm in. Well, that was a cool plan and all, but it didn't necessarily work that way. So I joined the military, became a H-64 crew chief. And of course you get to your first unit and you say, hey, I want to put my warrant officer packet in and become a pilot. And they're like, hey, yeah, thanks. Maybe you should spend some time in the unit before I give you a letter of recommendation. So I'm like, oh, great. So started down that route, and the unit was getting new, going from Delta or Alpha model Apaches to Delta models, which required you to go to Texas for 10 months, what they called UFTP, which was basically a fielding program for the unit to learn how to use it and fight. So commander's like, well, I ain't going to give anybody any kind of letter of recommendations or anything until we get back from Texas. So off we went, 10 months. My flight physical expired and everything, because everything has a time limit. So get back and start doing everything, and my flight physical had some issues with my next flight physical. Apparently, a few years, 2 years in the Army of doing push-ups gave me T-Rex arms. I was 2 centimeters short on my wingspan when they measured me. So it's joint compressions and all that crap from doing push-ups and stuff. So I had to go through an exception to policy. I had to get with a senior warrant, the flight surgeon, and sit in all the aircraft, let them make sure I could touch everything in the aircraft, and submit the waiver. So did all that. Took like over a year to get the waiver approved. So as soon as that hit, I dropped the packet, got picked up the next board, and went to flight school, and that was roughly joined in 99. So I went to walk school in 2002. Graduated that, started flight school, worked my butt off trying to get high scores so I could do, because back then you had to select the aircraft and it was based off OML. So I got lucky, got number 3rd pick, and there was only 4 Apache slots out of 60 slots. And the first 2 went, one went to the head of the class, the other one went to another guy I know that was my stick buddy. And then the 3rd one came up and I got it. And back those days, nobody wanted Apaches. They thought there was just some false things around the community about Apaches, but some of them are true. Like, hey, you're going to go to Korea. You only get like 3 or 4 places in the world that you can go to as duty assignments, and they all suck. I'm like, oh, okay, great. So I was kind of on the fence when it came to selection because of that. I was like, I could do 60s, and I could go to some place cool like Hawaii, but I hate what I'm doing and be miserable where I'm at. Or I could go get Apaches, love what I'm doing, and be sucking wind or hating where I'm at, which is going to change. Airframe doesn't change. Locations change. So I'm glad I picked the Apache, because after the first flight in one, I was like, oh my God, And the first day, they take you out and they show you what it does, and you about wet your pants and jizz yourself. So graduated that. Like I said, went to Korea for 2 years, came back, actually went to Savannah, and made piloting command there. We deployed, did a rotation deployment with them, came back, went to Fort Rucker and became an instructor pilot, taught flight school for a few years. Left there, got the maintenance test. I was already a safety officer. That was my first track. I did that when I made PC. And then got the 3rd track, which was the maintenance test pilot course out of flights, teach them out of Rucker, whatever they want to call it now, Nova Cell. And went to Campbell, spent my tour in Campbell as a test pilot, deployed to Afghanistan there and things like that, and ended up at Hood again as my last duty assignment and retired out of there. airlines were throwing money at everybody, getting them to join up there because of the pilot shortage. So I started down that route. I'd already had my fixed wing private. I ended up getting my instrument before I retired, and then I went, got a job with, gosh, what are they called? Damn. It's American's Little Regional. Brain farting. Anyways, got a job with one of the regionals, and did all that, did all the requirements, got my commercial multi, took the ATP written, passed that, and I was 2 weeks, not even 2 weeks, from starting NDOC with PSA. That's it, PSA. To get my type rating and a CRJ. And COVID hit, canceled the classes, was kind of happy. I was kind of on the fence about being an airline pilot. I didn't want that lifestyle. You know, it's a 6 to 10 year commitment before you really get any seniority. Granted, it's going really fast now because of the shortage. But it's a volatile industry. You never know what's going to happen. Another COVID. Living in hotels, commuting back and forth, because there's no, unless you live at your base, you got to commute. So you're gone half the month and half the year easily. And it was a hard pill to swallow coming off of a 20-year career in aviation in the military. So when COVID hit and they canceled all the classes, I was kind of relieved. I hung around for a few more months until my commitment with them was up based off of a time limit to have you in class, or you could walk away without owing them any money. They spent about 40 grand on me. So I got a job and I've been working here in Huntsville ever since as a contractor for the government, for the Army. I work for the Army around the Apache still. And I'm in my bed every night. Actually, yeah, and I work from home most of the time. I only work 1 day a week on base. The rest of the time it's from home. So it's a good gig, pays okay. It's not flying, which I miss, and there are some flying positions that kind of pop up around here that I've been considering because I miss it, and I see they fly around us all the time because everything Apache is here in Huntsville. And but I want to get back to flying someday, and that's kind of, now that the shop's done, I'm going to start saving for an airplane. I was going to build one. I had a tail kit for an RV-10, but I'm glad I kind of sold it because COVID caused major delays. It would have taken 3 years to get all the kits. Prices quadrupled, like you can't, it's ridiculous what they cost now. Like, it made it cheaper to buy certified. And being a former crew chief, you know, the A&P stuff's easy. So I could get my A&P just by going and doing the written and doing the hands-on at one of these little colleges, like a 2-week course if I wanted to, just to kind of help. You know, hey, I'll do your annual if you do mine, kind of thing on the planes. But that's kind of my goal. Is I want to fly, but I don't really want to do it for a career again. I mean, once you're a gun bunny, you know, there's nothing that compares to that. And if you're not doing that, then the only other thing I want to do for flying is go places. I want to take my friends and family and go places and travel. So that's my plan. I don't need flight time. I have thousands of hours of flight time. I don't need more flight time. You know, it'll be nice, yeah, hey, I want to go flying today and just put around the area, but that's not, those days are over for me. I still love flying. It's who I am, or what I am, quote the movie. But that's the plan, and if I have to sell everything in this building, in this shop to eventually get one, I will. I don't want to do that, but prices have kind of come down a little bit. You know, COVID threw the world upside down. The pilot shortage threw all aviation upside down. General aviation is killing itself just because of cost, becoming a rich person thing again. But maybe it'll work out. So, gotta have goals. But what is this? Holy shit! 24 minutes. I am so sorry, peoples. But yes, that is in. And now I will put the covers on, and you have to do a little trimming on some of the covers because they'll hit the rod on like the very edge here. They'll hit the edge, so you have to trim that just a little bit. You'll trim a little bit here, and then sometimes they actually, mainly the flaps, when it comes down, this one will actually hit the front cover, so you have to trim the front cover a little bit, right in this area right here. Real easy stuff, just to kind of like perfect fit where nothing rubs and binds. And then you just drill. The panels are already drilled. The holes are drilled and they did drill the holes in here, so, on the actual control surface, so you just gotta run your little screws, in. Be careful, they're easy to strip, and you probably wanna, I don't use the screws they do. I use my own little special screws. They're longer, so they don't strip, and they're smaller, so they don't look as bad. But I'm gonna go walking. Gotta put some miles on the body, go exercise for about an hour and a half. I'll come back and do that, and then I'll probably have to get cleaned up. It's Valentine's Day. Gotta spend some time with the wife, and everything. So you guys have a good one. Sorry for the long-winded stuff, and just wanted to let you know I got a lot of new viewers and new people that I've met since I started the Zykoy stuff that don't really know who I am and where I come from. You know, I've been in NRC since I was like 11 or 12, and I'm now 45. So been doing it a minute. But you guys take it easy. Happy Valentine's Day.